there's a 4-move red V if you solve this center in 1 move, this center here. The red axis is this corner, and this corner. And so the 4-move V would be to solve this center, then kick this edge out of the way so you can solve this center. And that's exactly what Jovan does. So he first does this tip, kicks that center out of the way so that he has the V. If you were able to follow along, it was to starting from he does the V. What's important here to my critique is that he does the V with the red on front and green on the bottom, and his V solution is L prime, R prime, U prime. And that leads into my very first piece of advice, is he's building the V such that it's in the front and the L4E case is from the bottom edge. And that's kind of the exact opposite way that I like to build my Vs. I prefer to build the V on bottom and then have the L4E edge directly in front for me. So you'll see that he has like these awkward rotations right after he finishes his V because he's unable to recognize what case he has efficiently. Because he starts from here, he does R prime, U prime, R. And then look, his V is completely on bottom. Or he built the red V here, so he has to do a lot of rotations to recognize his case. But he does happen to just get a 2-flip, and then he just goes with the yellow layer and just does this algorithm. Pretty standard 2-flip algorithm. So my main feedback on that solve is to try and build your V on bottom so that the L4E is in front. That'll cut down your recognition time significantly. Max, do you have anything to say about this?
No, I think, yeah, you said it well. Just do V on bottom and like, yeah.
Yeah, this is something I tell Max a lot in our class, because we all have the tendency to want to build the V in front. We get to see like how it's constructed a lot easier, but then when it comes to recognition, it's not ideal. Now, as the most advanced solution I can think of, I'll leave it there so that you can see the screen. I'm looking at the yellow layer, which can be done with R prime, U prime, L prime from this angle. So the yellow layer on bottom. And there's this 2-flip algorithm where so the standard way of doing a 2-flip is to have it in front and do some kind of double sledge move. But in general, if you are 1 move into a 2-flip on the top, where your last move basically puts a flipped edge in, you can always cancel into an alternate 2-flip algorithm. And the way it works for this case, if my last move is an L prime and it brings this flipped edge in, instead of doing the L prime, I can bring the layer edge in the front to the front and then do this insert of this edge up here. So basically like temporarily hiding this layer or this edge in a way that inserts this other flipped edge with R, U prime, R prime. And then when you go to fix the layer, you're done. So just to summarize, another 2-flip algorithm goes like this. So L to bring in either of the 2 flipped edges. Then you insert the other flipped edge into the bottom. In this case, I can do it like this. And then U L prime. So that's just an optimization. You don't need to use that at this level. I want you to focus on limiting your rotations first. But I thought I would share that because I do use those 2-flip algorithms all the time. Now, okay, I hope everyone was able to see that. And I'll play his solution, but it's a pretty obvious 2-move V. So he rotates, does it in the front once again, UL. And then once again, he does 3 or 4 rotations just to get set up for the V. To do V with the blue front, yellow bottom, BR, then you'd be set up for the L4E. One thing I can't stress enough is if you can incorporate B moves into your solves as early as possible, it'll help you a lot in the long run because B moves are very much viable in Pyraminx these days, and some people use them in almost every solve. So I suggest building Vs on the bottom with the L4E in front, even if it means adding some B moves into your V solutions. So then he does a very good alg, but first he recognized it wrong, but it's for this case where you have this edge here and this like double bar in front. He was about to do sledge, but in this case, you do hedge insert. So he does that. That's the exact algorithm I would have used in that case, so very good. It also skips AUF before and after. So I have no issue with the actual solution. I think it's pretty much optimal. It's just, once again, limiting rotations and making sure you recognize your L4E case well. Basically, when you're here, you recognized it so that the yellow, you thought the yellow sticker, you did the algorithm, you started to do the algorithm for when the yellow sticker is on this side, which I totally understand. But I suggest, in terms of recognition, the first thing you should look at is, or you should know, is where that last yellow sticker is, and work your L4E solution off of that. Okay, so he did the blue face before we start. This is good though that you did the V on bottom this time. So you go here and you start by doing a tip. Let's look around. This is something that just with practice you'll improve on, but you're solving the centers and then inserting the edges one by one. In general, you want to be trying to block build to make a V, but sometimes this is the best you can find, so I'm not going to berate you for that. But here you solve the centers first, and then you're just going to individually insert edges. So you put in this blue yellow first, like that. That's all right. Looking around, you see this one. Insert it there. And then you notice you have a 2 flip, and this is a very good alg. I will show you a fancy algorithm for this 2 flip on the side, just in case you're curious. So right here, when you insert your last edge on red, so you're inserting this blue-red edge right here, R, U prime, R prime. And right here, what you can do from this angle is L sledge U L prime. And basically what the theory is there is this is a flipped edge right here on my cursor. This is the other flipped edge. So you can do an L move to put both of the flipped edges in front and then do the standard 2 flip algorithm, sledge U L prime U prime L, and that cancels 2 moves along with the AUF. So right here you could do L and then R prime, L, R, L prime. And then you just have a U L prime and you're done. So I'll play what that would look like. So you're inserting this final edge. And then you're setting up to a 2 flip in front. And then you do this like standard alg sledge, U L prime, U prime, but you cancel 2 moves. So that would have been my solution from that V. The rest is not going to work because it's the moves you did instead. Now I'll show on I guess I'll show what I see on the scramble instead. So on yellow, I see a 4 move V right away. You can do from yellow bottom I'll solve the tips right away. But from yellow bottom, you can do L prime, U prime, R prime, B prime. And that's just by looking at these edges. L prime, U prime, R prime, B prime. You'll see V's like that in, just as you practice. And you'll get what's called a Polish flip. And I want to demonstrate the best way of doing the Polish flip. So L prime, so green front, yellow bottom, L prime, U prime, R prime, B prime. And you have L4E over here. And this is called the Polish flip. It's when the V edge is flipped in place and you have two oriented edges and this kind of block right here that's misoriented, but it's misoriented. And here, a way that a lot of beginners do it, and something I used to do, is R, U prime, R prime, U prime hedge, which is good, but the algorithm I use 99% of the time now is by doing a U prime first to adjust it, and then I'm inserting this edge to the bottom with R, U prime, R prime, and that sets me up here. I'll bring U prime L. And this is something I try to get Max to do as much as he can as well, is use algorithms that benefit from the really fast U prime and U like flick moves. So here I'm pushing with my index finger, whereas a lot of beginners, they want to reach for the back and pull from back here. But I suggest anyone who's watching this who cares about getting fast at Pyraminx to start introducing these flick moves. So this, I call it like a push flick on both sides. And then if I were to push from here, you also need to be able to do that where you're like pushing with your nail. And I think all of the top Pyraminx solvers, if you watch their solves in slow motion, they're pretty much doing all their U and U prime moves with these push flicks and nail flicks. So here I'm doing R, U prime, R prime, L prime, U prime, L with my nail. And this is something that I have struggled with throughout my time solving Pyraminx, primarily because of hardware. Like the MoU ball bearing Pyraminx from my time was not good for doing those sorts of flicks. So ever since the new Pyraminx have come out, I've learned to do that. But I suggest the earlier you start, the better. Okay, he gets that same two flip L4E case. He's doing the red V, and he sees very good that there's this red-green block that's going to help him. His red centers are here, 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 and here. So he's going to build the V around this block and this block that he has. But the issue with this block is that it's kind of blocking this center, whereas this block is free to just go in. So he's going to solve this center first and then hide this block temporarily, bring this center in, and then unhide the block. Very standard procedure. L, R prime, U, R. Very standard V solution. And he rotates. Once again, you could have done this V on bottom, but rotates, and he sees this two flip sledge insert. Very good alg. Also, now I guess I'll talk about tips. A lot of the top Pyraminx solvers like to do as many tips at the beginning of solve because it helps not only with recognition later in the solve, but it just allows them to just spam TPS without thinking. So just turn as fast as they possibly can, and there's nothing more to look at if you know the exact moves you're going to do. Whereas if you have tips left to solve, you're going to be completing your algorithm and still have to think about them, which can add brain processing time to your solve. So I recommend you either do all tips at the beginning, or at least if you have two tips, you should be doing them at the beginning, in my opinion. I know Jasper Murray, former world record holder, his strategy is to do the B and the U tip at the start, and then the R and the L tip at the end, because he finds that as he finishes his L4E algorithm, he can just, as he's dropping the cube, do the R and L tip, no problem. So whatever works best for you, just try not to leave this like U tip along with an AUF. That's never good. To have to do this U move and then the U tip, it's not ideal. Antoine asks, do I have any pointers about turning in general? And yeah, I I recommend incorporating those U and B flicks into your solves as much as you can. I recommend you practice your algorithms and just time them on StackMat, how fast you can do. Keep track. That'll improve your turning a lot. And obviously, start all your algorithms from a home grip pretty much always. And you're going to be doing a lot of flicking if you want to turn fast. Um, Anyways, for this scramble, how do I set up my Pyraminx? So this is a Moyu magnetic Pyraminx, or sorry, this is the Waylong magnetic Pyraminx, and this one I got set up by the Cubicle. This is Stephen Wertringham's Pyraminx. I personally like it on the looser side. Yeah, make your tips as fast as you can so that when you're going to do the last move of your solve as a tip move, it doesn't turn the whole layer. And generally just you want a fast Pyraminx, but not so fast that when you do a flick move, you're doing like a U2. Yeah, for here, I would do a 3-move yellow V on bottom with the L4E ready to go in front with RU L prime. And if you track this edge, that's a green sticker, that's a blue sticker. This center is going to be doing a U. So this edge is going to be solved up here. And then you just get a simple insert. And that'll just, seeing that will just come with practice, but you should be able to see these 3-move Vs at this point where this block's ready to go in. That doing that move to solve this block is going to kick this edge right here. And you just have U L prime to finish. Let's do the last scramble. So there he likes his time, but he does get the Polish flip. And I mentioned earlier that the beginner algorithm is to do a couple moves to set up to a sledgehammer. That's what he goes for. Here he goes for U L prime U L U sledge. And then once again, he has that U move plus the U tip. He's doing green. He does a tip. He's bringing this block in with L prime. And then he's hiding this block. Very good to bring in that last center. He does a couple of rotations. Here, you might as well do the U tip, but you should have had it done already. And then here, I would insert this edge. I'll show everyone the algorithm he goes for, and I'll show 2 better options. So here he does U L prime U L U sledge. And right from here, what you can do is, this is the very first thing, and it's not advanced at all, is R prime, L, R, L prime. So a sledgehammer, U, R prime. And that would skip the AUF before and after the algorithm. So I'll show you what that looks like. That's the green V right there. He's ready to go. And you recognize it by this bar here and then the other 2 edges that have no bars over here. And because the bar's in front, you can solve this edge to here with a sledgehammer. That's kind of the overall way to remember this algorithm. Here you start with a sledgehammer. U R prime. So that's a new algorithm that you can add to your toolbox. But what I would have done here instead is U prime, L prime, U, L, R prime, U. Just because it's so nice with the finger tricks. So instead of sledging right here to solve this edge, you can insert that edge to the bottom as if you were building a layer and you were building, like, you needed that red edge. So you do U prime, L prime, U, L. And then you have R, U, R prime, U. That's the algorithm I try to show Max once again. But that's all the critiques I have for this solve. Just try to do your V's on bottom. try to add more fluidity to your solves. So always be thinking about what you're doing next, because I notice you pause a lot. It'll all come with practice. Maybe get a different Pyraminx. I think you're using the MGC, and it's not known to be like a flagship, or not known to be like the best Pyraminx. So, but yeah, that algorithm, Max, what do you think of the algorithm that Boyan used for V? I know you sometimes use it, and it's not the worst, and it's really good if the AUF works for it. But right here, he does U L prime U L U sledge.
Yeah, personally, I would like sledge at the beginning before, and then get the other.
Yeah, if you're looking for a general tip, Boyan, when you see a bar like this where it's not exactly like a solved bar, but you have this, Max can tell you that he in L4E, at least what he's known to do is to immediately sledgehammer here just to solve that edge to there. Is that right, Max?
Yeah, so like you put the sledge, so you solve the piece there, and then you just insert the rest.
Exactly. So sledge U R U R prime.